Hey there, you, me, and DC fans, and welcome if you're new. I am the Stepson of Krypton, coming to you today with Absolute Superman issue number 10. It is getting good. Guys, I don't want to waste a whole lot of time with this intro. Let's just go ahead and get on into the issue. All right, guys. So if you remember where we left off with the last issue, Jimmy had been taken prisoner. Superman, helping the Omega Men, had gone through and cleared out one of Lazarus's many facilities, and they realized that they had left Agent Alpha or Jimmy Olsen. And are we going to go back and get him? This issue opens up where we haven't been for a while. It's the Redlands of Krypton years ago. We see Jor-El. He's digging. He's trying to save some of his fellow Kryptonian miners that were trapped in a cave, while several of the miners trapped want to leave the wounded behind because they feel like they're not going to be able to make it out if they actually care for the wounded. So of course, Jor-El, he's not having any of that. And I love that we see in the scene they say, "Oh my Rao." Obviously it would be easier for, in the comic just to say, "Oh my god," but obviously Rao is their god. It kinda for me, kinda adds that little element to it because we also know from previous issues, while we're reading it in English, they're not speaking it. If you remember, Cal had to learn the language with the help of Soul when the Kents first found him. Just then, several people are taken away in a blur, and the culprits seem to be magmoles. Although, strangely enough, they normally don't get this close to the surface. You kind of have to believe what's happening with Krypton's core. It kind of makes sense that they would seek refuge more topside than normal. And as he's trying to rally his men to stand and fight against the Magmoles, we get a little more information on just what the good old working class people of Krypton go through on a daily basis. Got scorching daybreaks, gemstorms, literally spewing diamonds, which apparently they are not a girl's best friend, infrared famine, acid tornadoes, glacial volcanoes that freeze oceans instantly, not to mention creatures such as these magmoles. As the fight begins, we see them call the lava gun to come into play to help deal with these subterranean pests. And finally, it looks like it may be working for the good of the hardworking people of the Redlands. For now. Then, in a dramatic shift, we go back to present time, but we're in Greenland at yet another Lazarus facility where it looks like the security there is waiting for someone to show up. See all kinds of planes hovering in the air. And while everything seems to be quiet, Sky Patrol is reminded that the target, aka Superman's, attack speed is off the charts, which no sooner than that is said, we see explosions occurring. And as we continue to see more and more explosions until there are no planes left in the sky. And I'll say what's interesting is if you notice, there are a bunch of parachutes in the sky, which lets us know these guys aren't being killed, their ships are just being destroyed. We go inside the facility where we see Lois escorting good old Timmy Olsen. At least that's what the press is calling him. And Jimmy seems to kind of be upset that them for getting his name wrong. And Lois is quick to point out that reporters are morons, which is awesome coming from her. While in this universe we know she's not a reporter or writer, we do know from the beginning of the series, if you remember, she enjoyed writing, actually writing out her mission reports instead of having normally that everybody else has the brainiac machine write them for them. She liked writing them out. Meanwhile, we see Raish and he's kind of like looking out the floor to ceiling windows at the battle outside, waiting for his son. And we learn it is Brainiac who set all of the current events in motion for Raish. And while Raish is less than pleased about the location of the meeting, Brainiac explains the strategic nature behind the location is to isolate Superman from the solar radiation because there it stays dark for months at a time. Oddly, though, Raish doesn't want that. He wants Superman at full power. As Brainiacs and Raish continue to talk about what is to become a Superman, we see Captain Smith enter. He's ready for another shot at Superman. He's pissed off that the last time when they were in Smallville, he was stopped before he got a chance to kill him. Because if you remember back in Smallville, Smith had riddled Superman with kryptonite bullets, and right as he was about to kill him, he got kind of zapped and they shut him down. So the battle continues to rage outside. Raish, impressed by Superman's abilities, he's asking if Superman is killing them. How many are dying? To which Brainiac kind of regretfully informs him that he isn't killing them. He's taking them far away so they aren't a threat to him anymore. So now Raish believes it's time for phase two. Just then, a boom tube opens up. We see the Omega Men joining the party. Their goal to rescue Agent Alpha, Timmy Olsen. Olsen tries to play to Lois like previously about doing what's best for Superman, but this time it doesn't look like it's having the same effect that it did the last time. Even Smith remarks at how she finally has joined the team. But if you do also again remember from previous issue, Raish is kind of threatening her father, so she doesn't have a whole lot of choice right now. We hear the inner monologue of Superman, and he's talking about how he was shot by Smith with pieces of his dead homeworld, about the people he's killed, and just how he will keep killing people unless he is stopped. We see a boom and what looks to be an explosion. Superman is talking about Smith's advanced armor and how it's well beyond anything the people of Earth should have, and how he has been transformed into the most powerful human on Earth. However, Cal isn't human. He beat him in about 4 seconds, and we see a battered Chris smashed into the ice. We see Cal floating above like this godlike figure, and the cape, the red particles of his homeworld, sprawled out like it gives me like from the old Spawn movie vibes of when the cape would just kind of go out. That's kind of what it looks like. And he knows what he's done won't stop Chris, but he knows he easily could. He could microwave his brain. He could send his heart into space as Smith watches it still beating, or he could shatter his vertebrae with a breath so he never walks again. And all the while, he has to give himself the reasons not to. So naturally, we're dealing with this inner turmoil. We're going to go back to the Redlands where Jor-El's talking to his son about the Mag Moles and how they were killed. And Jor-El tells young Cal, even though it meant saving people, they must not forget what constitutes cruelty and inhumanity, especially when they're the ones being cruel. Because when you kind of think about it, after all, like there's like the magmoles, they're just trying to survive, right? We do what we have to survive. They're doing what they have to survive. And if you've been following along with our Absolute Wonder Woman series, where Diana feels the same way, like when she killed the Tetracide, she's like, it's just doing what it knows to do. So is it really evil? But sometimes we must be cruel, even if it means protecting everything. Back in the present, Primus is yelling at Superman to finish Smith off. But obviously, those lessons we just saw that he learned from his father is going to keep him from executing Smith, like the miner did to those magmoles with the lava gun. Primus, pissed off, goes to swing at Smith with the sword, gets melted by Superman. And she gets even more pissed, saying, "You're no Superman." To which we hear a voice, Raish, and an entire team of peacemakers, which also include Lois and good old Timmy there. And Raish tells her not to speak that way to the son of the demon. Seeing how Raish embraces the idea of Superman being his son, now it's Smith who is pissed, believing it should be him. He goes to fire upon Superman, but Raish quickly snatches the gun from his hand and he turns it on him and he begins to fire on Smith. But Superman grabs the bullets, even though they are kryptonite, because he's not going to tolerate the killing, even if it is somebody as bad as Smith. Raish then tells Superman that he knows what he's feeling and he wants his help to remake the world. Of course, Superman's going to object, and then he's struck in the back, and we see this green glow coming from his back, so we kind of have an idea of what it is. And that idea is confirmed. It is a kryptonite dagger. However, what wasn't confirmed, what we didn't know, is it's Primus. That bitch stabbed him in the back with the kryptonite. But why? Then we see Lois get karate kicked right in the head by Primus, and the other Omega Men are just slaughtered. There, among the field of the dead, we see Raish and Primus, or should I say Talia. the daughter of the demon, and soon to be sister of Superman, if Ra's has his way, which it seems to be he's used to getting his way. And that is where issue 10 ends. All right. Great issue. I feel like a lot of us probably suspected that that would be Talia as soon as we saw Roz and Raish, however you want to say it, come into that. That's kind of who I was thinking it was going to be. You know, it is kind of interesting to see these characters in a Superman instead of a Batman. I'm loving it. How are you guys feeling about Absolute Superman? Are you liking where this is going? Is it your favorite, or if not, which is your favorite in the Absolute series that we are doing, guys? And if you have made it with me this far, even though I'm doing my best to keep them as short as possible, you might as well go ahead and give the video a like, subscribing to the channel, and having the bell notifications clicked so you will get alerted as we release not only everything going on in the Absolute universe, but everything else Superman side on the movie and TV show side. Sorry, guys, these lights are burning my eyes. All right, that is going to wrap it for me on this issue of You, Me, and DC. Until next time, guys, I'll see you then.